Hey, it's like I want to get in trouble. I just want someone there to punish me for it. Now, I might transfer from my Honda Accord to a Tesla just because a Tesla paid me more. It's a great sport. It's the most beautiful sport in the world, and I have no complaints about it. Have good sporting. We're back. We're back because we're consistent on this show. We're coming at you every week. This episode, copious amounts of data on your way, breaking down the quarterfinals of the college football playoff, previewing the semifinals of the college football playoff. We're going to take a little bit of a look at the transfer portal and the chaos it brings to the lives of these athletes, the lives of the fans, the decision makers at the school, and myself. It's all chaos. I can't even wrap my head around it. Then we're going to keep talking until I run out of things to talk about because we are jam-packing this episode. Got a hot take for you at the end that I've been pontificating on, not related to football in any sense. Just makes me rage and I need to get it off my chest. But let's take a look. Let's go back. Put yourself in the shoes of yourself these last couple of days watching the college football playoff. We opened up on a Friday with Miami and Ohio State. A lot of these games were throttlings, pummelings, any adjective you want to use to just explain complete domination. None of them in the way we thought, right? Miami really kind of throttles Ohio State, and it seems like Miami for the foreseeable future is not going to lose a game in the trenches. In fact, that's where they're winning these games. Ohio State, Julian Sayin, a young quarterback. We are in 2026, and it took until 2026 for Julian Sayin to truly be tested in the 2025 college football season. How about that? Julian Sayin looked a little bit lost in this game. Jeremiah Smith, obviously, a safety valve and a half. You got the best receiver in the nation to throw to, but you could not push the ball down the field consistently. It took these 20-yard catches from Jeremiah Smith to keep drives alive because you couldn't. The backs played okay, but you're not toting it at 4 or 5 yards a carry where you can sustain drives. You're throwing it up and hoping, it felt like. But Miami just dominates. Feed Mark Fletcher. Try to dominate Ole Miss in the trenches in this coming up game. But I mean, unfortunately, and I'm gonna have to look at some stats here. This game I wasn't able to watch. I was able to sit down all of Saturday and go through it. But if you just box score it, it is everything is in Miami's favor outside of passing yards because that's the only thing Ohio State could do. Carson Beck played a clean game, not spectacular in any sense, but I mean, Miami rushes for 153. They put 24 points up on the board going in. You wonder is 24 points going to be enough? I'm sure Oregon thought the same thing, but you end up throttling your opponent anyway. So credit to Miami. They look absolutely unstoppable in the trenches. When we preview Miami Ole Miss here in a few minutes, it's an interesting situation. Ole Miss playing Georgia was able to be successful on offense before pressure was ever able to get there. That'll be very interesting to see what happens in the next game. But Miami moves on. Pretty electric outing out of Miami. Never want Miami to win, first of all. I am not a hurricane, but I don't mind watching Ohio State lose. So it was kind of wasn't a win-win. It was a win-lose. It was like every other uh, zero-sum game that you've ever played. So, yeah, don't know what I'm really saying there. Oregon, Texas Tech. I watched this game while playing golf with my sister, who is just terrible. We rented out one of those, or we want to do something with the family, so we went to, it was called Golf to Grow. And you rent it out for an hour. You got a simulator, and you can play a course. We played Pebble Beach, I think, which proved to be a bit too tall of a task for Annie. And the problem with golf is whoever's furthest away gets to hit first. So with Annie, she's inching along, has to hit about 16, 17 shots in a row before I'm able to go hit my second shot after I absolutely bomb a drive. So I had a ton of time to watch this Oregon Texas Tech game play out, and I was very high on Texas Tech. Please do not go watch my previous videos where I said they were going to win this game because it was a start to finish pummeling. I mean, if you told Texas Tech, I don't know why I always resort to this line of thinking, but if you told Oregon they're going to score 23, they probably feel a little bit uneasy about winning the game. If you told Texas Tech that Oregon's going to score 23, they'd say, all right, let's get 24. Let's get 24. But they could not get anything going. I think they had 87 rushing yards, and one of those was on a 50-yard broken play where he stuffed at the line of scrimmage, but the defense comes in and he just comes back, backs his way out of the pile, and runs for 50. Didn't even get any points out of that drive. So it's a fluky 87 yards rushing. They had absolutely nothing going. Dan Lanning continues to tell you and show you why he's one of the best coaches in the sport. An absolute thrashing by Oregon. But they have next up the most disciplined, well coached, fun to watch, best storyline, everything you could ever want out of a team, fan or not. Indiana has. So Oregon, Indiana, we saw it play out earlier this year, 30-20 in Indiana's favor. We will see how that game goes. Wish I could break these games down a little bit more. Um, but I'm not Brooks Austin. I'm not the film guy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the X's and O's of the game. I'm just going to tell you I got a lot of these games wrong predicting them, but it's good because I learned from it. Now I know that Miami is not to be trifled with. Now I know Oregon is not to be trifled with, both very physical teams. And by the way, that's what won out in these first two games is pure physicality, just beating dudes up. Not not gashing them offensively, not fancy stuff, just winning in the trenches. That is winning football. And it will always be that way. Indiana and Alabama, I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. This game I was right about. I had Indiana going to the title game. I think in one of my brackets I picked them to win. Hmm. Picking the one seed to win. What a bold statement by your host here. But yeah, again, a throttling. I mean, Miami, Ohio State was a 10-point game, but that was a throttling. Oregon, Texas Tech was a throttling. Alabama, Indiana was just embarrassing. It wasn't even a throttling. It was like they were cruising down easy street and just couldn't make a mistake. Indiana did. But they win 38-3. Ty Simpson gets benched. Austin Mack comes in, throws a seed, and then gets popped. Might have coughed the ball up like a play later. But Indiana, and then I think at one point Alabama goes out there and tries to fake a or like draw them off sides on a fourth and less than five, obviously trying to get a first down. In the camera pans to Signetti, and he's full of rage that Alabama would even try to draw his boys off because they are such a disciplined team. Fernando Mendoza, if there was any questions about him winning the Heisman, there are no questions anymore. Okay. Fernando Mendoza, I think people forget that this Indiana team has a terrible roster. Like in any metric you use before the season to grade the strength of a roster, and if you just silhouetted every team, you don't know who's who, Indiana would never even be a preseason top 25 team. I think they were preseason, or were they preseason 19? Like no one thought that this could be continued success when you have, the 70th ranked roster in the sport. You have like one blue chip guy. I mean, less than a handful of blue chip guys on your team. And you go out there with a ragtag team of misfits and you literally dominate the biggest brand in the sport. Indiana, the losingest team in college football history, went out in May and it looked like Alabama. The mighty Crimson Tide did not even belong on the same field as them. This was Indiana's starters going up against Pike, the Pike House at Indiana University. Like it was completely I was flabbergasted. But I said previously that I often never know what Alabama team to expect. Am I getting the team where they can't run the ball at all and Ty Simpson doesn't have a great game and can't carry them to a win? Or am I getting the team where they get a little bit of something on the ground and Ty Simpson slices and dices you? And the talent on the defense shows up and is apparent. I got absolutely none of that. And Indiana rolls 38-3, looking unbeatable, but also a lot of strong performances out of these other Final Four teams. And then the game of the night, the game of the year, perhaps, in the game where Ole Miss was playing against the opponents and the refs, it felt like, as at least if you ask my dad that, he'll say that. But Ole Miss wins 39-34 in a barn burner. Georgia up 21-12 at one point, and it looked like they beat Ole Miss earlier this year when Lane Kiffin was the coach. It was like you lost Lane Kiffin. I said this is a game where if you're gonna feel Lane Kiffin's absence, it would be this game. But Trinidad, Chambliss, and Charlie Weiss Jr. Sorry. Trinidad and Charlie Weiss Jr. with a masterclass offensively, a dagger of a throw deep to set up the victory. I mean, and Pete Golding getting promoted to the head spot there. Genius move by athletic director Keith Carter. Keith Carter, a guy no one knew existed. No one could have told you who Keith Carter was. And then the Lane Kiffin drama happens, and people are questioning if Pete Golding was the right guy to promote. And my lord, is Ole Miss doing a lot of things right structurally right now. And they take down the Mighty Dogs. Tough to beat a good team twice, they say. Tough to beat a good team twice. Usually that's people that was Alabama trying to go beat Georgia for a second time. This one, it was Georgia was on the losing end of trying to beat a good team twice. So how about that? Ole Miss. I kind of wish he was an interim coach, so because it'd be cool to say that an interim coach has taken the team this far. But Pete Golding, what a job. And Charlie Weiss, I don't want him to go follow Kiffin to LSU. I think Charlie Weiss could do much bigger and better things. He is establishing himself as one of the top offensive coordinators in the nation, regardless of league. NFL going to give this guy some calls, I bet. But a spectacular story Ole Miss is. I was, as a Gator, there was a point in time where I wanted Lane Kiffin. Even now, if you said, hey, you had the choice, I'd probably say still want Lane Kiffin to be the coach, or I would accept that. But man, it is fun to see this team succeed without him. And unfortunately, Lane Kiffin's still making money off this run they're on. I think he's going to make like $1 million extra if Ole Miss wins it all. But Lane Kiffin doesn't deserve a ring for this, and he won't get one. He will not get a ring for this because this is not Lane Kiffin's team anymore. If they came out and dropped an egg against any of the games they've played since Lane Kiffin left, maybe it was Lane Kiffin's offense, right? And Lane Kiffin is a very good offensive coordinator, but Charlie Weiss is too. And Pete Golding, he's an Ole Miss guy through and through. Looks like he bleeds Rebel Red, or I don't, Hottie Tot. I don't know what they say over there in Oxford. But man, what a game. I was at Joey Frediman. I was at your house, Georgia grad, huge Georgia fan with a lot of Georgia people. And I left early, and boy, am I glad that I left early. Did not want to be there to watch Ole Miss absolutely dominate the second half here. But I'll tell you what, the referees in this game, there was like three questionable calls. One of them wasn't really questionable. It was a good call. It just happened after a really bad one, so everyone was up in arms about it. But there was, I don't know if it was a defensive holding or a PI, but it was relatively egregious, and it felt like the dagger in Ole Miss chest. And then if they lose this game, everyone is circling that play as this play screwed Ole Miss out of the playoffs. But they overcome it. And Trinidad Chambliss was money. This guy was absolute money. He is so fun to watch. I'm not often on board with granting guys extra years of eligibility. I think you need to play college ball and get on. Ultimately, we love the sport, but it is just a stepping stone from a kid to a man, from high school to playing professional ball. We can't have guys playing 7 years, but Trinidad Chambliss, Diego Pavia, they fit in this category. Give them as much eligibility as they want. They may not be great NFL prospects, but they give so much to this game. I say you grant them 5 extra years of eligibility. How about that? All right. Oh no, we got a preview. We absolutely need a preview. Miami, Ole Miss, Oregon, Indiana. I can't bet against Signetti. You just can't do it. The spread's 3.5, over under 46.5. If that, I mean, if you can get that line at 2.5, I don't think you will. I think Indiana winning by a field goal is like perfect. I think Oregon's been a really good team all year. I think Indiana gets better and better and better. And I think they cover the spread. For Fernando Mendoza, he's the better quarterback. They got the best defenders on the field, the best wideouts, it seems. But if you look at star ranking and talent and even record, Oregon is what? I mean, they're 13-1. They're no slouch. I thought they might have been 12-2, but they're 13-1. Been really impressive. Just been kind of second fiddle to Indiana all year. Was second fiddle to Ohio State too, obviously not second fiddle anymore. So this is kind of like a huge mountain to climb for Dan Lanning. I don't think Kurt Signetti is going to let his boys not win this game. Not that it's a choice, obviously, but you can't bet against Sig, and I'm not gonna do it because I've done it, and I'm not gonna do it. I am not gonna do it. Oregon, I mean, I don't even know what kind of game this needs to be for Oregon to win. Indiana can win they can win 13-10. They can blow you out 38-3. They can hang 45 on you. They can hold you to 3. They can shut you out. They're disciplined. They're not going to make mistakes. So if you fall behind, they're not going to let you back in the game. You have to go take it. I don't know if Dante Moore is quite in a position yet where he can go take it. I think that's what it might end up is it's going to be maybe you're down 3 or 4, especially if you're down 4, you got to go score a touchdown. Can Dante Moore go take it? You have more talent. You're very well coached. I just think Indiana is fractionally better at like everything. And in one specific spot, it's probably a wash. But if you stack it up over position unit, over health, over, you know, the structure of the program and everything and the 3 phases, I think Indiana, I mean, they might roll to a victory, dare I say. But I think you take the over here. Over 46.5. First game was 30-20. I don't think it's going to be the same score, but I think it might be similar. Give me Indiana. Let's go 27-20. Let's go 27-20. Barely hit the over. Indiana covers. Miami, Ole Miss. Miami is better in the trenches, and they're 3.5 point favorites. Is the Cinderella run over for Ole Miss? Are they not a Cinderella? Are they just a powerhouse? I think if you're Ole Miss, you have to find a way for physicality to not be the biggest thing in this game. Like I was watching the Georgia Ole Miss breakdown by my guy Brooks Austin, and he was showed so many plays where Trinidad is making a decision and making the correct decision before Georgia even has the chance to pressure him. And when they do, he's off script making a fantastic play. And everyone seems to be on the same page. I think if Trinidad can stay from being rattled by Ruben Bain and Mesidor and Keontae Scott out there at nickel making plays, pick sixes to the crib, then Ole Miss has a shot. I think Ole Miss's defense can stop Carson Beck. Maybe you get one of those Carson Beck 3 interception games. I don't know. I think if you're a betting man, there's a lot more value taking Ole Miss, especially because they can win this game. The 52.5 over under, don't like that. But give me Ole Miss to cover. Let's bring one home for the Southeastern Conference. That might be all I got playoff wise. It's going to be a fun watch, but frankly, what's been consuming, I don't mean I might even lean back for this. I'm going to put my, yeah, look at that knee right there. I'm going to put my leg on my leg or whatever. I'm going to cross my legs over. I don't really know what I'm doing here. But what's been consuming more of my time recently is keeping up with the transfer portal, which no one can do. It's an impossible feat to try to keep up with it. I mean, I could keep up with the Florida stuff, try to keep up with the rivals, see how they're doing. But what's frustrating here, and what I don't have a fix for because it's not my job to fix it, but I think it needs to be fixed, is first of all, there's no salary cap. So all the teams in Texas and then the Oregons of the world, it's just who has more money, which it shouldn't be. I don't like that. I love that players are making life-changing money. I don't mind Brendan Sorsby making $6, $7 million this year. I don't hate that. I just wish it was 6 or 7 million of the 25 or 30 that every team can work with. And the core problem with the revenue share is you wanted it to just be the 21 and a half or 22.5 million salary cap and then effectively get rid of the other NIL deals so no one is spending 50 million on a roster while another team is confined to that 22. Because then you can spend 1.5 to 2.5x more than the other team. You're gonna have more talent. Doesn't guarantee a good that the players work out and that the next season works out for you, obviously. So we still have parity from just selecting the right players and like everyone has a chance now. But you have to rein it in. The NCAA can't do it, so you create the College Sports Commission to try to navigate these NIL deals, see which ones are pay for play and what's actually a legit like deal. And then haven't heard the term College Sports Commission since it was created because they're not doing anything. They are not doing anything. And you have these guys that are now transferring for the most amount of money. And here, I'm gonna try to get in a good clip here. Is I like that players are making money. I don't mind the transfer portal. I don't think you should be able to transfer so much, but you can't go tell a kid, hey, the best option for your career is to stay and, sit for 2 years and then go shine for 2 years and then go make the important money in the NFL. Because you can't guarantee that it's going to work out if you stay at a place, but you sure as heck, keeping it clean. You sure as heck can't prove that it's going to work out if you transfer. So if you can't guarantee on the field success one way or the other for one of these guys, but you can guarantee more money if you transfer, they're going to transfer. And guys are going to be at 3 schools every 4 years or 5 schools every 6 years. You just, and they are humans. You don't want to put restrictions on what they can and can't do, but it is not healthy for the sport. And then these NIL deals, the name, image, and likeness. It's not it's not an NIL deal. It is a pay for play deal. Just call it what it is. Because no one cares about what the name of this guy is. No one knows what they look like. No one knows what their image is without their helmet on. And then like I don't know if I like the guy. I don't get to see him. Again, I'm mooching off of Brooks Austin here, but he had a great point. It's like if you're going to do an NIL deal, at least they should be obligated to do press conferences and stuff, and the coaches aren't letting them do TikToks, but all the guys on TikToks are like fan favorites. So let's actually do NIL. Let's actually control the money. Let's let's say you can transfer freely twice, but you got to sign like a 2 year contract with a school, and the contract is binding, and you cannot get out of it. Then you run the risk of getting sued, like Damon Wilson and UGA, and it's chaos because no one reprimanded any of the decision makers or the players or the schools or the coaches from when it started. So now you have chaos and it's too much to control without someone coming in and doing something, giving out a punishment that's super way over the top or putting rules and enforcing rules that are also way over the top. This is not a slow burn fix that you can make. Like it's just all messed up. It is all messed up. You gotta rein it in. Because no, the coaches don't like it. The players that transfer a ton and are at four schools in 4 years and none of them pan out, I'm sure there's a large sum of players that wish they would have stayed because they were a year or two away from playing, and instead they transferred once or twice trying to get playing time the next year and didn't work out that well either. So they go find whoever's paying the most and promising playing time, and then still can't guarantee that it works out there. There's no school pride anymore. A lot of things that we love about the sport are disappearing. And it's just frustrating to me because I want the kids to make money and succeed. There's no way to guarantee the second one. So you're only going to be able to guarantee the first one, which leads to a lot of the chaos. I don't know. It's very frustrating. I just want to know if some of the parents of these players out there wish they had clarity on some situations too. Because we've heard about, I mean, like Jaden Rashada and the NIL deal falls through with Florida. Now he goes from Florida to Arizona State to Georgia to Sacramento State. He's on four schools in 4 years, and this is a kid that was like really good out of high school, really promising talent-wise, and could be a legit, really good power four starter if things panned out his way. He could be on his third year of starting for somewhere. This guy could be a first round draft pick, but he got just he got messed up by it because there's no structure. I mean, there's no punishment for anything, and no one knows what's going on, so they're going to do whatever they want and trying to figure it out. Some schools have it figured out and have a good system. Others that are trailing behind can't beat the people that got it right in the first place because they don't have enough money and they're just not doing it as well or allocating funds properly. And it's, all the changes that college football made was to get parity, and you got parity, but it's like money doesn't buy happiness. So you give everyone all the money in the world and it just opens up a whole different can of worms, a whole different set of problems. So I'm just airing my grievances on the sport. And some people are going to say, oh, well, then say some fixes. And I'm like, well, it's not my responsibility to implement fixes, right? There's people in power, decision makers. The NCAA is supposed to have their foot on the whatever. Whatever, they're supposed to do their job. They're supposed to govern college athletics. There's no governance. It's the college commissioners, or it's the conference commissioners that are making all the rules for everything, and they're in competing conferences, so they can't get on the same page. And they're all about money too. That's why the playoff is expanding, and they want guaranteed bids for their conference, and they're chasing money too. Oh my God, it is so bad. It's so bad. And I love the sport, and I'm gonna keep watching no matter what. I'm just learning 100 new players every year now for my favorite team. Oh God, okay. I'm gonna air grievances about one more thing and then log off because a rage session is in order about the sport of college football. Red light cameras. Yeah, I said it. Red light cameras. It's I don't mind the red light camera for safety purposes. Get proof of a wreck. See who's at fault. I think it's great for that. And I haven't gotten one. I haven't gotten a red light camera speeding ticket or running a red light ticket in my life. My mom has multiple times. Hold that over her head for sure. I haven't gotten one yet, but I think in my lifetime I'm bound to, and that's when I'll rage about it, is I don't mind getting a speeding ticket. I don't mind getting a ticket for running a red light, but at least have a cop out there that has to work for it. Like earn the right to give me my ticket, right? I don't want the cops all snuggled up in bed next to their dearly beloved and I'm out getting a ticket because they put a camera up. Like if you're gonna find me, have someone out there that caught me doing it. It's completely ridiculous that I get it. I did something wrong, but at least be there to punish me for it, not like you just had a camera there and that's why I'm in trouble. That's lazy. That's laziness. It's kind of like college football. Hey, it's like I want to get in trouble. I just want someone there to punish me for it or earn the right to punish me. Don't just like, don't just do it because there was a camera there. Now, the difference between college football and red light cameras is in college football, there is no red light camera. There's nothing. There's no cops on the road and there's no cameras to catch you doing something wrong. And everyone's doing something wrong. They know it. College football teams are blowing through this stop sign in this red light at 75 in a 25 zone, and it's allowed. It's allowed. And I might transfer from my Honda Accord to a Tesla just because a Tesla paid me more. It's a great sport. It's the most beautiful sport in the world, and I have no complaints about it. But we're done, man. I love you all. Goodbye.